Be a bunch of facts. Okay, so we have a bunch of facts here. And what the fuck happened? Why did this happen? Is this a big distraction? You got the Venezuela blockade, gun control seemed to be on its way, and now, everybody's paying attention to this bizarre, that's what Hitler did, right? Didn't Hitler do that with the Reichstag? He went ahead and burnt down the Reichstag and then blamed his opponents for doing it? No. Yes, he did. So, is there foul play? Is it suicide? Who knows? I think it's probably suicide, but it seems very suspicious, and he has a ton of powerful friends, and if they did something that was a professional hit job, and, can the federal government get down to it with all the, power and money and wealth and all the, surveillance footage? Where's the damn video? And just put out the video and show, the American people that he killed himself, and then that would put that baby to bed that that he was murdered. But if he was murdered, then you wouldn't want to release the videotape, right? So, okay. Just the facts. A whole bunch of facts. They're just in no particular order. There's this one woman, Virginia. She claims that Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, in 2001, and Epstein had forced her into sexual acts at Epstein's Upper East Side mansion. And she also had said, I think there was rape, too. So she's forced to get into sexual acts with other men, with Andrew, or with other people. So that's Virginia. She's going to get a settlement in 2017. The Duke of York accepts that it was unwise to have met Epstein in December 2010, but the Duke has not met Epstein since. It's kind of weird. He accepts it unwise to have met him. It was unwise for me to have met him. But there was also a duchess that had said that she got her bills paid because of a deal between Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, and Jeff Epstein. So Jeff Epstein paid for her bills because of an agreement between Prince Andrew. Virginia said that Maxwell ordered her to have sex with New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson and former U.S. Senator George Mitchell, among others. Mitchell denies it, saying, I've never met, spoken with, or had any contact with Mrs. Giuffre. So, Virginia, I've never even met Virginia. Bill Richardson's going to say the same thing. He says it's categorically false. He says he's never even seen any females. No women, no girls around Epstein whenever him and Epstein were hanging out. He's never been to the Virgin Islands, which is the pedophile island, and he's never met Virginia. So he's, categorically denying all the accusations. Donald Trump is going to say in the New York Magazine 2002-15 years he had been friends with him. So in 2002, Donald Trump said of Jeffrey Epstein, he's a terrific guy. He's fun to be around. He said something about he loves beautiful women as much as I do, but he kind of likes them on the younger side. So Donald knew that Epstein was into underage girls. He kind of likes them on the younger side. So Donald also recently had said that he threw Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago. James Patterson was a witness to it. And so, he was friends with them all through the 90s, since the late 80s, and all throughout the 90s, even up into the early 2000s. But just recently he's saying, well, I threw him out of Mar-a-Lago, so we're not friends anymore. Bill Clinton, he's implicated in this, too. He's going to admit to taking 4 trips on Epstein's plane in 2002 and 2003. He's also going to admit that he had one meeting in the Harlem office in 2002 with Epstein, and that he had made a brief visit to Epstein's New York apartment with security, Secret Service detail. So that's the Lolita Express. And so they're saying that Bill Clinton is admitting to 4 trips on the Lolita Express, and then 2 other times when he visited his office in Harlem, 2002, and then 1 time to his private New York place. Bill hadn't spoken to Epstein in a long time. He's never been to his little St. James Island, his ranch in New Mexico, or his residence in Florida. So it's interesting that they're mentioning all the property that he has. So he's got a 100-acre little St. James Island, a ranch in New Mexico, and he's got a residence in Florida. And so Bill Clinton says he's never been there, and then Bill Richardson says that he's never been to the residence in the Virgin Islands. So again, that's, pedophile island. So, yeah, U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Jeffrey Berman, will keep the case against Creep from hell. Make sure the case carries on. So you got William Barr and you got Jeffrey Berman. Jeffrey Berman and William Barr is going to keep, making sure that the victims can sue the estate of Epstein. Now, Mark Epstein seems like he'll probably get a piece of it. All of, Jeffrey Epstein's family would, inheritance law, so, and then all the victims will get a piece of it too. He's got $70 million, he's got a shit ton of fucking money. So there's a lot of property, a lot of money here. So this shit show, this Jeffrey Epstein shit show is going to carry on for quite some time. And good for the victims to get themselves some justice. So Jennifer Araoz filed a lawsuit against Ghislaine Maxwell and 3 unnamed Epstein staffers. She said, so you got a Jennifer, you got a Virginia. So Jennifer, she files a lawsuit against Maxwell. So both Jennifer and Virginia point out that this Madam Maxwell, this Ghislaine, Ghislaine, Ghislaine Maxwell, she's the biggest, the partner in crime. Literally the partner in crime. She's the, chief of staff. They thought that they were husband and wife, but really they're more just business and partners. And she's the socialite, so she's kind of like Paris Hilton of the United Kingdom. Robert Maxwell is a publishing tycoon. So you got Robert Maxwell, who's, I guess, some newspaper guy, and then his daughter is friends with Epstein. And she's like, there's a picture, she's a white woman, picture with the Epstein kissing Maxwell on the cheek, and the Epstein has his arm around her, and he's kissing her, and so seems happy, she's smiling, he's smiling, they seem happy. So this picture, so there's a picture of them together. We know that at one moment in time they've actually, saw each other. Both Virginia and Jennifer had said that she's, the whorehouse madam. She's the, Maxwell, Madam Maxwell. She's the one that organized it all. She recruited the new recruits, and she also organized schedules for them to be hired by Epstein. So she's the main, she's like, probably suspect number 1. I don't know. So Virginia Roberts Giuffre made a 2015 defamation case. She was the Epstein sex slave, and that case is going to get settled in 2017. So a defamation case said that Maxwell was Epstein's assistant. There's Lex Wexner. He kind of looks homosexual to me. He's got that gay face. He splits ties with his former money manager 12 years ago, so he had hired Epstein 12 years ago. He's the CEO and founder of L Brands, parent company of Victoria's Secret and Bath & Body Works. So the owner of Victoria's Secret and Bath & Body Works, Lex Wexner, is a part of this. He said that the creep from hell, fucking Epstein the creep, misappropriated his money, and he hates that somebody he employed is hurting so many people. Virginia said that Dershowitz is a high profile. She said that Dershowitz had abused her too. He's a high-profile attorney, and he was actually a part of Epstein's 2007 sweetheart plea agreement. He's only going to go to jail for a year for essentially the same crimes. He was accused of the same crimes earlier in Florida, but he only gets a year in jail because of a sweetheart deal by Acosta, a plea bargain. But he had, Dershowitz was on his side. So Virginia Roberts Giuffre, she says that Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, had made her do shit, and then she said Alan Dershowitz had abused her, and then she said that she was ordered by Madam Maxwell too. I don't know if she actually, had sex with George Mitchell and Bill Richardson, but they both categorically deny it. So that, they categorically deny it. So that has to be true, right? So Alan Dershowitz, there's a photo of Epstein and Dershowitz staring at each other, September 2004. He's wearing a Harvard sweatshirt. Epstein, the creep is. Virginia, let's see. So she accuses Alan Dershowitz. Alan Dershowitz put out all these documents, and she says that in a statement that this categorically proves that Virginia never had sex with me. So I guess, I don't know what he put out, but a bunch of documents essentially saying he was over here doing this, here's other people. He's got affidavits saying, you know, it was different place, different time, none of this could have been. And in April, Virginia filed a defamation lawsuit against Dershowitz. So she filed a defamation lawsuit, got it settled against Epstein, and now she's got a defamation lawsuit against Dershowitz too. So there's another lawsuit, right? Mark Epstein is Jeffrey's younger brother. Mark Epstein offered up his Florida condo for collateral for Jeff's bail. Victims can sue Epstein's estate. It's massive, so these trials are going to continue. He has a ton of property. So the fact that Mark Epstein, his younger brother, they say he's estranged. Who the hell knows? You know, he could just be saying that just to sort of distance himself, you know, from his criminal brother. But Mark offered up his Florida condo for collateral for Jeff's bail, so he's going to try to get him out of bail. And he was even his own Florida condo for, you know, collateral. So he's offering up his own property. I don't know how rich Mark is, but I know that Jeffrey fucking Epstein's, you know, his property list just goes on and on. He's said to be some sort of Great Gatsby kind of guy. He's aloof and mysterious. And even though, you know, the official line essentially seems like he's running this, the pedophile island. He's got a Lolita Express pedophile island, so he's got this pedophile sex trafficking ring that's going on. Kind of like Pizzagate, right? They try to tell us, and, you know, nobody believed them. But that's the official line. There's another part to this that says perhaps he was luring these powerful people onto Lolita Express, and then getting some incriminating photos of them, and then now he's got power over these powerful people. And was he doing it for himself, for his own reason? Does he have a boss? Is it Russia? Is it Israel? Is it Mossad? Is it, you know, the KGB? Who is this? You know, why the hell is Epstein, why does this guy exist? He's got a $70 million place. He's got a 7-story mansion in the Upper East Side of Manhattan. He's got the richest, biggest, most expensive place in New York City. He's got the richest place in Manhattan. That's Long Island, right? Manhattan. So 1992, someone bought him a $70 million house. So $70 million house is bought for him. I thought it was at Lex Wexner, but I'm not for sure. And then Epstein, not only does he have property in New Mexico, he's got a ranch in New Mexico. He's got property in New York, he's got an office in New York, and he's got a big 7-story mansion in New York, and he's got a Florida estate. So he's got Florida property, New York, New Mexico. He's got an island off of the Virgin Islands, his own island, the Little St. James Island. So the Little St. James Island, that's all Epstein. Epstein owns all the Little St. James Island. He does business for tax purposes with the island right next to Pedophile Island, so this Little St. James Island is Pedophile Island. The St. Thomas is the island right next to it. I guess that's sort of like the big island that has the city and all the amenities. It's kind of like the Florence, the Florence, Kentucky of the Virgin Islands. And so Epstein Foundation donated $6.5 million to Harvard. 2003 Harvard article had praised Epstein. So, God, he's got, you know, just a ton of fucking property, right? And his own island. He's got, you know, is it Great Gatsby kind of, he owns planes, private planes, $70 million house. What does he do? He's a money manager. A money manager. That's how he makes his money. Is that true? Someone said he's a fake billionaire, so he could just be bullshitting people. So the way he dies is going to be a perfect storm of events. They left him alone. He's unmonitored, unvideotaped. Metro jail protected inmate privacy, so they either wanted to give the creep plenty of time for him to take himself out. Maybe he paid, maybe he pressured it to happen. The prison guard wasn't a regular prison guard, so his Epstein's prison guard that night was not a regular prison guard. The roommate is a sketchy guy. The people, there's no way to, you know, there has to be videotape. If there's no videotape, there's no way we're going to know anything, really. A dozen or more victims don't get to face him in court because he killed himself most likely or was murdered. But there is a videotape out there. There's a videotape, and that will either tell, that'll tell us exactly, was he murdered, or we'll see him struggling and watch him kill himself. So R. Kelly is going to be arrested a week after creepy Jeff Epstein's, arrest. They found a bunch of child porn on Epstein's hard drives. There's a bunch of videos and photos of underage girls. So they have a ton of fucking evidence. He's been writing all this stuff down. He knows a lot of people. He's got a lot of dirt. So I think it's the FBI, the federal government. So yeah, he was looking at, I heard, only 45 years in jail though. So Virginia, she said that Prince Andrew and Epstein raped her when she was 17 years of age. Johanna Soderberg gave a 2016 deposition saying Prince Andrew and Epstein raped her too. Jennifer Araraz is mad because Epstein won't face his accusers in court. Epstein raped her when she was 15. On Friday, a court had unsealed more than 2,000 pages of documents alleging misconduct, which included Bill Richardson and Prince Andrew and a whole bunch of other people. So Epstein told James B. Stewart that he had dirt on many rich and powerful people, and so it's indisputable that his death was very convenient for many of the rich and powerful people that was connected to him. Donald's had a ton of conspiracies. He's sat there and said that, Hillary is responsible for Epstein somehow. She doesn't have the power to do so. He's got the power, right? He's the one that controls the federal government. So Ted Cruz is also responsible for JFK's assassination. Joe Scarborough killed his assistant. A pillow was found over Antonin Scalia's face, so he could have been murdered. Hillary was involved in Vince Foster's death, a Clinton aide. He started the birther movement. Obama wasn't born in Hawaii. He was actually born in Kenya. He offered Obama $5 million for his college record and his passport. Thousands of Muslims in New Jersey celebrated 9/11. There were millions of illegal voters that voted in the last election. These are all his conspiracy theories. So global warming is a hoax invented by the Chinese. Noise from windmills cause cancer. Vaccines can cause autism. Claims immigration is financed by George Soros. Donald's mother wasn't born in the U.S., so they're probably illegal immigrants. We just need to send these people back. There's 2 autopsies that are being conducted right now. Michael Baden is running the autopsy for Epstein's lawyers. Virginia Roberts Giuffre said that Bill Clinton went to Epstein's Harlem office in his New York apartment and flew on the Lolita Express several times. So Virginia says that Bill Clinton was a part of it. She says Bill Clinton, Bill Richardson. She says George Mitchell. She says Prince Andrew. Virginia Roberts Giuffre is just... She says that Bill Clinton went to Epstein's pedophile island, the Little St. James Island. So she said that Bill flew on the Lolita Express and then that he went to the island, but he said he didn't go to the island, and so that's probably why they're saying that, because she said that they did go. And so they're saying we flew on the plane. Bill Clinton said that they flew on the plane, but he didn't go to the island. In a deposition, Ivana had actually said that Donald had raped her, but they said it wasn't criminal rape, which means because it was marital rape, they were married, so therefore he was allowed, she was his property. He had pulled out her hair, and he forced himself on her and had sex with her when she didn't want him to. But apparently marital rape wasn't a thing back then. That wasn't, criminal rape. So she said that in a deposition. Then there's also Tiffany Doe. Jane Doe and Tiffany Doe that had said that they were raped by both Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein when she was 13 years old, when Katie Johnson, Jane Doe. So Katie Johnson is going to get raped. Tiffany Doe is going to witness it 3 times, and then Tiffany Doe is going to get assaulted or raped on the 4th time. And then Epstein and Donald Trump are fighting over Jane Doe, a.k.a. Katie Johnson, over stealing her virginity. And so Donald took the virginity first, and then Epstein was all pissed off and then is arguing with Donald, and then he rapes her afterwards. There's some dialogue, too, about how Donald had said that he's just a stupid Jew or something about him being a Jew bastard. You Jew bastard. And then he also mentioned something else about something else. I don't know. So, suspects. Who could be part of it? Any Bill, Donald, right, Woody Allen, Kenneth Starr. These are people that have been implicated in some way or form. They knew Epstein. They flew on his plane. So Chris Tucker, I feel for Chris Tucker. There was, Michael Wolff. I trust Michael Wolff. I think he's gay, so I don't think he's going to, get into what he's offering. Alan Dershowitz, Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, Woody Allen, Kenneth Starr, Kevin Spacey, Chris Tucker, Bill Clinton, Bill Richardson, Lex Wexner. So, yeah. His brother Mark comes out, Virginia, and actually any of the people that was his allies, right, to keep him keep it hushed so that socialite, she could be a suspect, Madam Maxwell. Really, anybody and everybody could be a suspect, right, if you're going to be serious. So, Virginia Roberts Giuffre said Prince Andrew raped her. Alan Dershowitz did too. Sarah, Duchess of York, she said in March 2011, Prince Andrew, Duke of York, helped arrange for Epstein to pay all some of her personal debts in a private arrangement between the two men. July 2011, Duke said he reported to have cut all ties with Epstein. So, that's interesting. Sarah, the Duchess of York, said that March 2011, which would have been a day after that Prince Andrew had said that he met him once in 2010, but he's saying that they had an arrangement. That doesn't mean a meeting, just an arrangement. So, 2008, Acosta reassigned Secretary of Labor position because of this week 2007 plea deal. So this plea deal is terrible. You have Acosta, Alexander Acosta. He was an attorney general. What the fuck was he? Whatever he was, he was the Secretary of Labor. So he resigns his Secretary of Labor position because of this weak 2007 plea deal. Alexander Acosta claimed that he was told that Epstein belonged to intelligence. CIA, FBI, he belongs to intelligence, so the Acosta only gives him a slap on the wrist. He has to go to jail for 18 months with work release, and he's working in a comfortable office, and apparently he's walking around naked, so it's just this very comfortable and very relaxed Florida prison, and he's going to get paroled out in 13 months. So he was approved to go to jail for a year and a half, and it's a slap on the wrist, and they said that he avoided all the federal charges because the FBI had a case that was open and ready for him, and he was guilty of all these crimes, but because the double jeopardy, I guess, since Florida had convicted him of it, that had protected him from that case, this case. So he pleaded guilty to soliciting minors in Palm Beach in 2008. He said he was guilty of felony sexual battery, penetration, fingers by penis. So he was guilty of felony sexual battery, but he only pleaded guilty to soliciting minors in Palm Beach. So soliciting minors isn't good. That's essentially saying, hey minor, you want to, so he's, that's not a good thing, but it's also not the, felony sexual battery, and I'm not for sure if he has to, sign up to be a predator, right? So, whatever that's called. So, yeah, the federal indictment charge, it said that 2002, 2005, dozens of girls were abused at his homes in Manhattan and Palm Beach. He paid some of his victims to recruit other victims. They charged him with sex trafficking of minors, and he pled not guilty. And he's going to say that they consented to the acts alleged. He thought they were 18. How it began, how the charge eventually, how it all unraveled. In 2005, there was a woman that had reported to Florida police that a wealthy man had molested her stepdaughter. And then eventually they're going to uncover this sexual pyramid scheme. Courtney Wild said she recruited 70 to 80 girls, underage women, and it was never enough for Epstein, so every woman, every girl, every person that Courtney Wild could get involved in this sexual pyramid scheme, so at least 80 were a part of it. Epstein said they consented. FBI had prepared a 53-page sex crimes indictment for Epstein in 2007, but instead he cut a deal with Acosta, gets 13 months in a county jail, and has a comfortable office for 12 hours a day and 6 days a week. So he only was in the county jail for a day. For the other half a day, he's just sleeping and he's going to the office. So this, clearly shows that there's a disparity in power with rich white men and poor abused girls and women, white and of color. So the girls and the women are ignored, and rich white men get away with their crimes. So this is the federal hammer is going to fall upon Epstein, so he's going to get rearrested July 5th, 2019. He's put in the MCC, the Metro Corrections Center in New York City. This is where El Chapo was put in. He's put into this jail, so it's high security, security. Bail is denied. He has to stay at the MCC July 6, 2019. It's only a month later, so almost about a month later, he's going to, be found dead. But July 6th, he's arrested. He's put into the Metro Jail July 23rd, 2019. He's found semi-conscious on the floor. He's got marks around his neck. So he tried to kill himself, pretty quickly when he was already in jail. He had tried to kill himself just within 17 days. So 2 weeks he'd been in jail. They said he found him semi-conscious on the floor. Then 6:30 a.m. August 10th, they found Jeffrey Epstein dead. August 10th, 2019, 4 days ago, 6:30 in the morning. He dies 66 years of age, and the only family, I heard he had no family, but then Mark Epstein comes out, but he claims to be estranged. The Bureau of Prisons call the death an apparent suicide, and they found him dead in a cell at the MCC, New York City. So the Metro Correctional Center. Epstein's removal from suicide watch is reason given for no video, but New York City prosecutor Preet Bharara said a video of his death likely exists. Donald's pushing for the death penalty. So could this be a Reichstag thing where he, does the thing, orders the hit, and then it happens, and then he blames it on them? He blames it on the other side, which is essentially, Hitler did the same thing. He burns down the Reichstag, blames it on the communists, and then that's, a precursor. That's a false flag to starting unlimited authoritarianism. So there is a video. Show us the fucking video. Show us the goddamn video. The former roommate, Nicholas Tartaglione. Isn't that nice Italian, mobster gangster name? Oh, I'm Nicholas Tartaglione. Hey! He was a former New York City cop charged with 4 counts of murder. Just charged. He wasn't convicted. He's a former New York City cop. So who is this guy? Is he actually, a criminal, or is he actually a cop? What is up with this? So he has this big Tartaglione that's his roommate. That's going to be his buddy. That's going to be the guy that keeps him from killing himself, or that's the guy that, murders him. So he was questioned about Epstein. He said he didn't know nothing, so that's, that explains a lot. Epstein said he didn't know what had happened to, so the first time, we don't know what happened. Then they put on the suicide watch in an observation cell surrounded by windows. Where lights were left on, any devices that could be used by the prisoner to take his own life wasn't allowed. But after 6 days, he's taken off a suicide watch by request of his lawyers. They moved to a special housing unit. The cellmate left 1 day before, and then he's hung to death. So even though that Tartaglione has an Italian name, that doesn't mean that would be racist, actually, to just assume Italian name means he's, part of the mafia. Tartaglione wasn't even in the jail when he died, so he's going to die the next day. They actually take Nicholas Tartaglione out of the jail cell, and then he's going to die. So the official story is that he hung himself with bed sheets from the second bunk. So there's 2 bunks if he was on suicide watch, and then they put him in a jail cell that had a bunk that was high enough for him to hang himself to death, and he had enough bed sheets to do it. Anyway, so Barr said there's serious irregularities. I think he's the Attorney General, William Barr, so he's going to use the United States government. So the U.S. government is still going to pursue this case, and then also that one guy in the very beginning, U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. So the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Jeffrey Berman, So I guess that's a federal guy too. So that's the prosecutor, Jeffrey Berman, and then the